Hey everyone, this is Prospector Jess, sourdoughminer.com, huntingforgold.com. I'm here to talk to you more about gold and gold prospecting. And specifically, right now we're going to talk about what gets more gold. What kind of things can you do to get more gold? And we're going to talk about that for a second tonight. Back to our regularly scheduled program from the earthquake studies we've been doing. You can see a little bit of that. That red stuff. Basically, the red stuff leads toward an area called Coso Junction. The 7.1 earthquake, 6.4, and then 7.1 further north, and then it just cracked all the way open. So basically, we're looking at a long fault scar that has kind of shown itself now and has kind of stalled out at that Coso Junction area. I do remind you, though, that Coso Junction is the site of some of the biggest quake activity we've ever had in California history. So right up from that area was when we had a 7.8 back in the 1800s, which was like yesterday when it comes to earthquakes and gold. So I think it's important to kind of keep yourself ready and have your go bag packed and your gas all filled up and your water. So those of you who are from California, Arizona, Nevada, just be aware, because that's the reach that something really big would take. And, the guys in Las Vegas would probably be shut down. Things that are, large water-filled reservoirs would be problematic, etc. for those distances. Even as it was, some of the things got shut down in Nevada. It was interesting. Frank's over here telling me something about the downstairs activity. He's over visiting. See, Frankie is my son and daughter-in-law's dog. So I get to borrow him from time to time, like a grandson. So anyway, I thought I'd kind of check in with you guys tonight and make sure we got everything going and that you're getting my broadcast again. Let's look. Oh, and by the way, that 7.1, basically from Caltech, their evaluation is that was 11 times stronger than the 6.4 the day before. So 11 times more powerful, and it felt like it. I mean, there's a significant jump. You can tell when an earthquake really picks up in cadence and in volume, amplitude, because it really makes a change in how everything feels and how long it lasts, especially when it's at distance. It's just a long rollers, and they just keep going. So that's it on earthquakes for right now. It is settling down, but like I said, these things have a tendency to settle down and then break free a week or two later. It's not unusual, and so stay tuned for more. You'll see this kind of interrupt happening on your news wherever you are, because it's already grabbed everybody's attention, including trying to upstage Donald Trump and his State of the 4th of July salute there on the 4th of July. So it's clearly one of those newsworthy moments, but it also is related to gold, as I've talked about in the last couple of nights. But right now we're going to focus back on another topic near and dear to all of us, and that is how can we improve our chances of finding more gold, and what gets more gold. So the basic premise on that is that there are ways of improving your likelihood of finding gold a lot. And those ways are something I've been focusing on for months, years actually, but months I've been telling you about it in this series of videos I do nightly. And that is the principles that I teach fit together into a system. And when you follow that procedurally, from how do you start the process of identifying good sites and the geology and past history in terms of gold finds and the USGS kind of stuff, all the way over to how do I recover more gold and tune my sluice box and my dredge or whatever I'm using. And so in between those two is a series of things that you can do as you're going through, and those things will improve your likelihood immensely. So I just wanted you to be aware of that, and in concert with that is tonight's sponsorship, and that is that we have an offer. I've been talking about this for the 4th of July. We're running this offer right now. It's after the 4th. We intended to get it off before the 4th, but quakes happen. So what we're doing right now is we're making this offer extended out past next week. So system a system for gold. Check it out, sourdoughminer.com/sys, S-Y-S, /. Check out that link. Look at what's there. It describes the offer in detail, and it describes the components that are in it and what it's worth. So you should take a look at that and evaluate it. The principle is it fits right with what I'm talking about tonight and what I've talked about for the last few months, and that is going through a systematic step-by-step procedure and getting in the habit of doing that each time you go to a new location. Each time you work your locations, there's sub-cycles that you want to do. By following those procedures and steps, you increase the likelihood of not only finding gold, but recovering more of it. And so you want to basically not only find gold quickly and easily, you want to basically tune that up so that you can find a lot more gold where you find it, and maybe where you didn't look yet, because there are things that you've already learned on your site, clues, that if you put them together, they mark out another possibility that you need to find, and you should start getting ready for that. And that would be the case in which you discover some kind of a pay streak, or some kind of a lead that leads to a gold lead, or a gold stringer, kind of thing, quartz stringer, quartz, some kind of a deposit, or ore material. So, or material. Yeah, just say it right, yes. So anyway, I thought I'd focus on that for a moment. So check out my system for gold, sourdoughminer.com/sys. That's how you get there. Check it out. Go read it. Don't wait, because it won't be there forever at that price, and it won't be there forever with those bonuses. So check it out and go see what you think. Let me know, and comment below. Any questions you have, comment or message me here on Facebook, and or let me know on the comments on YouTube if you're watching this on YouTube on the replays. So that's it for that for right now. I just wanted to say, what gets more gold? Well, let's look at it for a moment. So let's go to the blackboard just for an instant here. When you're gold prospecting, one of the first things you're going to want to do here is think in terms of, where can I find gold? And the first thing you want to do, of course, is start out with a system, a structure. And by a system, in my system science background, what I'm talking about is a series of steps with feedback loops in them and controls, essentially rerouting yourself or redirecting yourself based on what you're finding and what you have logged, what you've got mapped out. The idea here is that you're steering your project into the direction the gold is telling you, or that the site is telling you, and away from the things that waste a lot of time and fuel and dirt. So over here, the first stage, of course, is what kind of sites do we have? So locations. And so it looks more like a log, but it's really locations, okay? And so first thing we want to do is figure out what locations do we have. Then we want to go over here and say, okay, following that, what do we have in the way of once we've found some places to look, what we do is survey the site. And this is really handy stuff, So we do a survey of some sort. And then following that, we're going to basically do a process that I call, sampling. And this is one of the most crucial things that tells the difference between the novice and the expert. And when you sample, what you're doing is you're collecting the right information from your site to tell you where the gold is and where it is not. And using that allows you to figure out where to go next, and or whether you're ready to scale and start recovery. And so the next step after that is essentially to do the process of mapping your pay streak. And by the way, one of the things I'll show you in a second is important. So we build out a map here. So we've done a survey, we've done sampling, we've got the dog yelping to get out. I'll be back in 1 second here. And then there's one more step here. I'll get to that in a second. All right, Frank, out you go. For months and months, Frankie the cattle dog has been my avid follower when it comes to doing these videos. He would come and sit at my feet during the whole show. So tonight, he comes back to visit after they got married. And what does he do? He sits at my feet for about 10 seconds and then goes over the door because he wants to go back out because he's afraid they're going to leave him behind. I don't think so. I think they love him too much. So, what locations? Survey your site, sample your site, map out what it's telling you, and then the last step is mine it. Mine or move on. And this is where the rubber hits the road, because what you're going to do when you do this process is you're going to use the information you're gathering from the other process steps, and you're going to basically determine what's the best kind of tools to use, how can I recover more, and all that kind of stuff. Now here's the piece I was hinting at earlier. And that is when you're discovering or not discovering gold, you're going to go around all 5 of these stages, and you're going to go in a loop. That's where it becomes a system. And you're going to take information from each stage of that loop, and you're going to feed it back to prior stages and repeat certain steps. You're going to sample another place. You're going to go to another place and use a different piece of equipment to detect the pay streak. You're going to use and all of this, you're going to basically be keeping some information in a log and a map so that you can understand what your site is telling you about where to find more gold. If you go and you approach gold from a random happenstance thing and you just kind of look around and take a stab in the dark, throwing darts, you're as likely to hit your friend with that dart as you are to find gold. More likely, actually. He's not going to be real happy about that, but that's okay. You'll find something. So if you systematically, methodically go through and approach your site in this cyclic fashion and get used to doing that, you can find more gold. And you'll find that kind of evidence already showing up on a lot of what people have been posting lately in gold finds because they're following my stages. So when that happens, all of a sudden this stuff of recovery becomes pretty straightforward, because that's the important part. The gold comes out not at the first stage, it comes out back here. Now, it might come out in a small quantity up front, but generally, this stuff over here, there's no gold. But, as we always say, you're buying data with this effort. You're getting information from your site that tells you where the gold is. And as you do that, you're doing a couple things. One, you're having fun, okay, hopefully. Two, you're building towards something bigger than what you might think. And so as you do that, you want to make sure that you're ready. But you always keep in mind this part over here, because that's where the gold comes from. It comes from that stage of mining. But if you haven't done a good job of figuring out what your site will yield, you could easily find yourself, blowing your whole, budget on equipment that isn't really the right stuff for this particular location. We're pulling out load and we bought a bunch of placer stuff, or vice versa, okay? And so it's important for us to pay attention to what we're doing and then cycle through as we go through this process of gold prospecting in a systematic way. Does that make sense? So I just wanted to bring that to your attention because that is so important and gets so neglected. These 5 stages, bing, 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 and bing. So the 5 stages really define what you're looking for and overall how much of this good stuff you're going to pull out. Because, after all, it is all about recovering this stuff. And so you want to make sure that that is your focus, but that's not your only focus. You should focus on the things that steer you to get more yield at that point. That's the whole deal. And that's why I make such a big deal about systematic processes and a process using systematic sciences like I do. I speak from experience, but I also know one of my goals isn't my experience, it's yours. And so that's why I keep pushing you over to look at the people who've given the accolades and shown evidence of finds that they're getting. Because it isn't important what I find, it's important what you find. And that's what my goal is to help you find more gold. It's that simple. So again, check out the System for Gold, sourdoughminer.com, SYS. SYS. Check that out. Go over and jump and bang on that page. Let me know what you think. Any questions you have, let me know. Like I said, send me a message, comment below. And that will help me understand what you're seeing and what you're finding. Again, some of you may have seen this offer or may even have it already. Let me know if there's anything else I can do to help you. That's also a good thing, is I need to know what else you need. What are the other aspects of this whole operation? Because there's more than just that to gold finding, but that's a great way to get yourself launched in deep and fast. And so with that, let me check to see that audio and everything's coming through clean. Check on Facebook here and look to see if everybody's on. We've got, yep, live. It's going good. 14 comments already. Great. And Steve says, you've helped me a lot from watching on this blog. Thanks. You're welcome, Steve. And Charles says the sound is good, so that's great. And William says the information would help you fund a mine or sell it. Yes, that is a good point. When you're collecting that information in the systematic process, the information isn't only good for you right now to find more gold. If you're collecting the information on it, you're going to have different yields and different positions where you know the pay streak or the load is, striking. Okay, and so kind of a pretty good idea of what the site is worth. And if you decide you're done gold prospecting for now and you want to sell the claim, that's a surefire way to establish the value of that claim to someone else who would be interested in buying it. And that helps you get the price in the right position. Otherwise, you're just selling dirt. And you know what that's worth, about what you paid for it. So it's important to kind of think big when you're testing small. Even in the small prospector's point of view, this helps you get the gold out faster and helps you have more fun recovering gold than doing it if you're just doing it for the fun of it. So that's important as well. And it documents the information you have around your site. That's correct, William. And so it's all important and helps you define what you're looking at and where to go next. It also lets you plan out, like if you're going from year to year, it helps you plan out what you're going to do this year in a remote position. So back home, you can do some more planning, pulling more maps and information about local lode or placer deposits that may be in the region, or new prospects you might want to go check out, or that kind of thing. But it also helps you take the site you're working on, and now I've identified these locations. Which are the 3 I'm going to go exploit this time, and sample in those 3 areas? How long will it take me? So I can do a little planning, and buy the right amount of food and get the right amount of gear and generators and whatever else you need to have, so that you can make your excursion and your adventure a fruitful one. So that's the idea here, is we need to know a little bit more by planning a little more thoroughly what we go out to get. And so that's what Systematic's about. And like I said, check out that link right down there. Looking in the right position. And let me know what you think. And that's probably it for tonight. I just thought I'd check in. And again, this is an offer. It's available right now. It starts right now and will run until the the Tuesday after next week. So you got a good week and a couple days there. Check it out. And but let me know what you think. And it will be limited time in terms of the offer itself. And so let me know and take action. Catch you then. Good prospecting and good night. See you tomorrow.